to meet you. This is very big pleasure to know you, President. It's a grand honor for me. Thank you. Thank you for the work for me. Oh, no. I'm very happy. You are very generous with me. Thank you very much. It's a very big pleasure. You are doing a great job. Thank you, President. MAGA, make Argentina great again. Come on, let's have some pictures. Come on. Yeah, you look fantastic. Come.
Make Argentina.
Thank you very much. You are very serious. Very great. You were a very great president. And I won't forget you. I promise that. Thank you much. Thank you very much. Election. It's going good. And I'm a big and I hope to see you again. We'll see you the next time. I hope that you will be president. I hope so too. Thank you.
One more. Can we do one more photo right
Make
here?
Argentina great again, Trump.
Make Argentina great again. Viva la libertad, carajo! Thank you. Have a good time. Thank you. Have a good time. I'll see you again. Okay, we will see you.
Yeah, apparently that last thing he said there, Javier Milei, "Long live freedom, damn it," which he's so famous for. That was absolutely unbelievable. That was absolutely unbelievable, gang. Do you realize how unprecedented that was? Heads of state don't bro hug like that. Heads of state are supposed to be sophisticated and debonair and diplomatic. They don't bro hug. But that's exactly what you just saw there. You just saw the president of Argentina, Javier Milei, and the presumed next president of the United States, number 47, absolutely man hug. The press called it an enthusiastic hug. I mean, it was just so freaking cool. Come on in, everybody. One and all, great to see you for our Monday night live. Was that not amazing? Wasn't that just incredible? It was so genuine. It was so cool. I mean, just that backstage greeting. And it's just the beginning. I want to show you how what you just saw there is the future. That is the future of geopolitics. That, what you just saw there, is the future of politics all over the world. It's not just Javier Milei, although that was so cool. I mean, he's a very, Javier Milei is a very eccentric fellow, and it was awesome to see him just fanboy out there with Trump. It was so genuine, and that MAGA cry, make Argentina great again, is really happening. If you've been following along with Javier Milei's presidency, he has only been president now for just weeks. And already Argentina is posting their first budget surplus in over 12 years. He's been in power actually for 9 weeks. And now Argentina is posting a 1.2 trillion peso. I'm sorry. Argentina had a 1.2 trillion peso annual deficit that he has now turned into a 400 billion peso surplus. That's what slashing wasteful government spending and departments will ultimately do. But it's not just Javier Milei. You may have seen El Salvador's amazing populist president, Nayib Bukele, speaking at CPAC over the weekend, along with Milei and Trump. That's where they met there. He gave an absolutely amazing speech. I think it's about 18 minutes altogether. You want to see the whole thing, but here's a little highlight from what he had to say over the weekend.
Globalism comes to die at CPAC. I'm here to tell you that in El Salvador, it's already dead.
Globalism is already dead.
But if you want globalism to die here too, you must be willing to unapologetically fight against everything and everyone that stands for it. Fight for your freedoms. Fight for your rights. The next president of the United States must not only win an election, he must have the vision, the will, and the courage to do whatever it takes. And above all, he must be able to identify the underlying forces that will conspire against him. These dark forces are already taking over your country. You may not see it yet, but it's already happening. You don't see it as clearly because people are designed to see linear changes, not exponential ones. We don't always recognize how fast a problem can multiply and spiral out of control. The problem is much like the metaphor of the boiling frog. Once the water boils, it's already too late. People fail to see these things. It's our nature. Just like the frog, people become complacent and they don't realize how bad things are getting until it's too late.
And I mean, again, he lived this out in El Salvador. You know, El Salvador had the highest murder rate in the Western Hemisphere. It was the single most per capita dangerous country on the planet, if I recall. And what Nayib Bukele did when he got elected, he was a total outsider. It was very much like an El Salvadoran Trump. What he promised is, if you put me into power, I'm going to get rid of these corrupt judges. I'm going to get rid of all the corruption in an El Salvadoran swamp. And I am going to make El Salvador safe again. He promised he would build a super prison that would house, for decades, members of gangs, violent gangs on the streets of El Salvador. Generally speaking, and this is a very big if members of gangs were ever actually arrested, generally they weren't because they owned the place. They owned politicians. But if they were ever arrested, they got slaps on the wrist, or maybe they were in prison for a couple of months. That's it. And then they were let out and they were even more dangerous than ever. And generally what they would do is they would retaliate and they would kill whoever put him into prison in the first place. Nayib Bukele got rid of all that. Mandatory 40-year sentence for all members of violent gangs. 40 years. You're gone. You're out. And so they've arrested tens of thousands of gang members, stuck him in this super prison where they're basically being humiliated, and he filming them being humiliated for everyone to see. And now El Salvadorans feel safe again. He was just reelected. You may have seen that just about 2 weeks ago, I believe. He was just reelected with 85% of the vote. How's that for a landslide? 85%. And what all these three men represent, Trump, Milei, and Bukele, they all represent what scholars call the rise of civilizational populism. I was actually just reading a very, very good book on this, Religions and the Global Rise of Civilizational Populism, by Ihsan Yilmaz. He is a Israeli scholar, very liberal. By the way, just a warning, if you decide you get this, the publisher is Palgrave Macmillan. Very liberal, but even he's honest enough to recognize what's really happening in the world. Religions and the Global Rise of Civilizational Populism. And it's not just him. There's a number of different scholars who are writing in this book, chapters examining civilizational populism all over the world, from India and Russia, Hungary, in the Sahel region of Africa, in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, even China, and then, of course, in the United States and in Latin America. And basically, the argument here is that, I mean, this term civilizationalist populism is very, very key and very precise. So populism, as you guys know, populism is generally seen by scholars as a very thin ideology. So if I say if I identify myself as a populist, you don't know if I'm on the left or if I'm on the right, right? Because populism, what makes it its key characteristic is that it redefines political animosity away from horizontal animosities, left versus right, liberal versus conservative, Democrat versus Republican, whatever. And it redefines that animosity vertically in terms of people versus the political class, right? The people versus the elite. And the elite could be globalist elite, could be banking elite, it could be an oligarchical elite, whatever it happens to be. But that's why populism is often referred to as a thin ideology, meaning it doesn't. All I tell you when I tell you I'm a populist, all I'm telling you is I really despise the powers that be. I really despise the permanent political class. But I'm not telling you much more than that. What civilizationalist populism is civilizational categories like nation, culture, custom, tradition. Those end up filling in the thinness of populism. So it's civilization provides the thickness, the ideological thickness that gives populism its definition. So now we know why we despise the permanent political class. It's because they're a bunch of globalists who hate nation, culture, custom, and tradition. And we, the people, are defending civilization. We're defending nation, culture, custom, and tradition. And what these scholars in this book, Religions and the Global Rise of Civilizational Populism, and they see religion, the return, like we talk about all the time on this channel, the return of religion all over the world as happening because civilizational populism is fundamentally about culture, and at the heart of culture is cult. It's religion. It's the reemergence. Right? Globalism hates classical traditional religion, whereas being able to push back against globalism involves reigniting those classical religious affinities and the like. So more and more leaders around the world are recognizing that if you want to establish a supermajority, like Nayib Bukele has in El Salvador, or like Viktor Orban's been able to create in Hungary, and Javier Milei didn't do too bad either. What was it, 55-45, 60-40 kind of vote in Argentina? Putin with his 80% approval rating. If you want to create that kind of massive solidarity, supermajority among the people, then you've got to tap into civilizational populism. You have to recalibrate political animosity away from the horizontal that separates the people of left versus right, whatever it is, Democrat, Republican, liberal, conservative. Forget that. And instead recalibrate the animosity vertically. So it's the people as a whole versus a corrupt political class. And then you fill in that animosity with civilizationalist frames of reference. We, the people, are defending our civilization as over and against these corrupt globalists who hate our civilization. We, the people, are rising up and defending culture, custom, and tradition against a corrupt, vile political class that's ruling on behalf of the interests of a globalist elite that hate everything to do with our civilization. That is the bro hug you just saw there. That's the glorious speech you just saw delivered by El Salvador's amazing president, Nayib Bukele, at CPAC. That's the politics of the 21st century, and we're seeing it rise up right before our very eyes like never before. Civilizational populism. It is the wave of the future, and there's really nothing in the end that our globalist elite can do to stop it. It's just too big, and it's just too powerful. So with that, Hannah, are you around? Come on
Hello,
in.
everyone.
Hey.
Hello. Come on in. I'm already here, but hello to everybody. Come on in.
People are starting to come. They trickle in as the live stream is going. That's the fun part of it all.
Yes, happy Monday, everyone. Good to be with you. I'm so I'm so intrigued every time I hear from you, Steve. There's just such a depth and a richness to this perspective. It's not just that we're winning, there's such deep roots. So thank you for that.
Well, thank
That
you.
was
Thank you.
wonderful.
Thank
Well,
you.
hello, everyone. Happy Monday. We're going to get into some fun stuff here with our Insiders Club in just a minute. If you're wondering what that means, that's a very important community to us, our Insiders Club members. They really are the ones that keep us afloat. They really are the ones that let us keep doing what we're doing. Right, Steve?
That's
We
right.
just couldn't do it without you guys.
No, we sure couldn't.
And because of that, we get to spend special time together on Mondays and Fridays. So if you're here in the virtual studio, welcome everybody. That's what we like to call it over here. When you're on the backside, you get special chat features, and we're going to have a whole extended show here in a minute. So if you want to come join us, just click the link in the description. First, put your email in. That is extremely important. I cannot tell you how important that is right now in case we were to get kicked off.
Yeah. We already got demonetized, and now the question is, what are they going to do to us next, as it were? And the beauty of when you click on the link below and put your email into the database, there we'll never ever lose touch, no matter what big tech does. We own the email, as it were. You and I we can never ever be separated once we have your email. But if the only way we can contact each other is through these external platforms, you never know what's going to happen.
Exactly. And that's very, very important. As you probably can see, if you've been around, we don't have super chats right now. We've been demonetized. So at the very least, if you appreciate Steve's message, if you love our mission here at Turley Talks, please click the link in the description, put your name and email in. That way we can contact you. If you feel called to go deeper, as we're going to just here in a moment, join our Insiders Club. It's just $5 a month. It's slowly getting cheaper as the days go by, as inflation goes up. Steve.
That's true. Wait a minute. We're losing money. Wait a minute now.
So, yes, it's $5 a month. That's like the price of a super chat. Come in. We'd love to have you. And we'll get into some questions here. I've already got questions coming in here.
Right. All right.
Yes. So anything you want to add, Steve, before we go over to our main show?
Well, a big thing, I think one thing we're going to have to talk about a bit is the South Carolina primaries. The showing of Trump over the weekend was so awesome. I think it blew even pollsters' expectations. I mean, we've never seen someone come out with that kind. Remember, Nikki Haley is pulling out all the stops of corruption and fraud. Democrats are voting for. We know that. We've got the evidence for Democrats. People who never ever plan to vote for in November are basically flooding in these primaries and voting for her. And yet Trump is crushing it. The turnout is trumping literally fraud like we've never seen. Now we have, since then, a couple of new polls that have just come out that are going to blow your brain. I mean, something's happening here for Trump. I mean, this is incredible stuff. No, you know me, I'm Mr. Optimist. I never expected the poll I'm going to share with you on the other side in our virtual studio. This is going to blow your brain. This is only for Insiders Club members. So make sure you click on the link below, give us your email, and then join our Insiders Club. And you're going to be privy to this amazing, amazing news.
I'll add to what we do every week, which is really fun, or maybe not so fun, because we give you guys some terrible things to look at.
Oh, it's fun. It's fun. I know what you're going to talk about. It's absolutely fun.
Yeah, well, we do boycott and boycott updates. So using your wallet to vote, not just on election day. So we give you guys all the details on that. We'll be doing that again here tonight. So awesome. Robert here on the chat calls it the virtuous virtual studio. I think
the virtuous, that's right. Civic virtue, virtuous virtue. That's right.
Good. Well, come on over. Join us in here. If you're not already in the virtual studio, just click the link in the description. Go to join.turleytalks.com. We'd love to have you join the party.
Absolutely.
Awesome. All righty. Well, see you later, YouTube. We're going to
see you, YouTube. We're going to our virtual studio now.